Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Wedding Ceremony Podcast. We talk about anything and everything that has to do with wedding ceremonies. My name is Clint Huft, and with me is a gentleman that has been to more restaurants than you ever will, the one and only J.P. Reynolds.
Good morning. Good morning.
JP, we have a special guest. I have known this guy for about 30 years, and he has a very successful entertainment company. He is the one and only Randy Kort. Randy, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Yeah, you're right. We met when we were 8 years old. So 30
Yes.
years, it pretty much is. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, let's run with that. That'll be fine. Sure. None's the
Date me
wiser.
right off the bat.
Okay, the Wedding Ceremony Podcast exists because JP and I are both wedding officiants. His website is jprweddings.com. He also is a brilliant author. His books are in the Amazon store and in the Kindle store in Amazon. Plus, he's a communications expert. Thebusinessofconfidence.com is that website. My website is just my name, CLINTHUFFT, clinthuft.com for all the things that I do. And Randy, where can people find you?
They can find me at RockOn at extravaganzaonline.com. At DJ Randy K is my Instagram. I spend a lot of time on TikTok, but I don't post on there. So,
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little revealing. Okay, good job. Good job.
a lot of dances in the background, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Randy, we met because we were both working at a DJ company back in the early 90s. You have just kind of taken that and run with it. Tell me a little bit about your business.
We do mostly DJs and MCs for any type of event from bar mitzvahs, weddings, quinceañeras, but a lot of corporate also. We do everything entertainment. So it's not just DJs, MCs, but that's where our focus is. But we do dancers, we do impersonators, we do comedians, we do magicians, we do anything that has to do with entertainment. We try and provide that for our clients.
Because I've known you for so long and because, there are all kinds of stories that happen off camera, so to speak, over the years. And so I knew that you would be excellent when we got to wedding ceremony stories, because that's all JP and I do. We turn on the camera, we turn on the microphone, and we kind of talk about what we just went through last week. Inevitably, one little thing turns into a conversation. And so I'm going to let you share with us anything that happened to you or that you heard of during a wedding ceremony.
I got to first compliment you guys. It's an unnerving thing to do a ceremony. I never really thought about how much pressure it was. I've been an extemporaneous speaker for years. I used to do improv acting and all that kind of stuff. And I did have a client one time say, "Hey, we got married already. This is just a fake ceremony for the parents because they don't know. So we didn't hire an officiant. We just want you to go up there and do it." Okay. I felt kind of confident. I've been to 1,000 ceremonies. I've heard them a million times. Some of it has to sink into my head. And I got up there and I was so nervous. I don't know why I was so nervous. Nothing was on the line. They weren't going to get a divorce if I screwed up or anything, but I just had all this nerves inside me. And I was trying to piece together all the fun anecdotes that I've heard you guys do at weddings and other officiants. It was rough. It was 10 minutes of rough, let me tell you. So I appreciate what you guys do. And your guys is for real, right? You're not faking it. I'm up there faking it. Holy cow.
I find it fascinating what you just said because my full-time work is as a communications coach. And so I spend a lot of time coaching people in various aspects of business on how to speak, if they're going to give a talk or if they're going to be at a conference or whatever. It's really fascinating to hear you say what you just said, because it's like, as a DJ, as someone who's standing in front of a room whose job is to get that room up on their feet, you have all of those skill sets. And I think, when Clint and I stand in front of that room, well, we don't want them to stand on their feet necessarily, but it is about tapping into the vein and moving people. So what do you think was the difference between what you were doing in the ceremony and what you would be doing in the ballroom with the music, getting people?
That's a good question. I like that question.
Great question. Yeah, you're right. What we do is very much the same thing. We are playing to people's emotions. We're not reading something cookie cutter. We are not just, if you play this, it's going to work. If you do this, what we're trying to do is tap into someone's emotions. You guys do it with the sentiments of love and maybe a Bible verse or something along those lines. My tools are usually, okay, what song is going to take them back to their high school reunion, or what song is going to be something that they heard as a family, like they always get together and do this. So I'm trying to pick out the music that's going to to move them. Even the slow songs I choose, the words that are in there, I really try and pick them out accordingly. What I do on the microphone as a DJ is I'm always trying to, and Clint knows this because he did years of DJ, you don't want to be the focal point when you're the DJ. You don't want to steal the focus. Our job is to act like a camera. So we grab the focus and we put it on the bride and the groom. And that's our thing. And we don't want to be up there telling jokes and being obnoxious and being a game show host, but we do want to make it entertaining, you know? And so you need to find that fine line between I've got the laugh, now I want to turn it sentimental. I want the ha ha ha, ah. That's what we're going for. And so I do that with what I know through the music, through whatever formality we happen to be doing. But to do that for 10 minutes on your own, up there with no script, it's different. It's nerve-wracking for sure.
Well, I was a DJ for 30 years. And so being able to just throw the music there and know when to play and play the room and all that kind of stuff. But I guarantee you, Randy, if I had to go in front of a console and start playing music right now to motivate a room, I would be lost because so much has changed. It's just one of those things where you have the skill set, because I've seen you on the microphone and you're brilliant, but to have a skill set for a certain genre, and then all of a sudden they're saying, now take that same skill set and do this other thing, is almost like a duck out of water. I mean, did you feel that? Did you like have that moment of panic? Like, wait a minute, what am I doing?
100%. If I had had some more time to prepare for it, like it wasn't just thrown on me, I think I might have been able to.
They did that like the day of? They did that?
Day of. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So like I did get called one time to officiate a funeral. And it was crazy.
I don't mean to laugh, but
do laugh. I mean, I've never done that before. And I mean, I rarely even DJ funerals. You know, every once in a while you'll DJ a celebration of life, but very rare, you know. And for them to ask me to do this funeral, I was just like, I guess I can, you know. And
okay, I got to ask you a couple of questions here because I've done funeral. In the early years of my life, I was a Catholic priest. So I have that whole background there. I love the idea of you having officiated a funeral. Talk about waking the dead.
Well, we'll take it one notch higher. You may have been a Catholic priest.
Sure.
I had been bar mitzvahed. Okay, that's my level of Hebrew. And they wanted me to perform the prayers in Hebrew.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, like, hello. Okay.
Did you have any idea, and this is an unfair question, but did you have any idea like why they wanted you to?
One of the party planners that refers me all the time, and he just was in love with me. He thought I was just one of the greatest entertainers and could do anything. He was like, you need someone with personality to run this funeral. I got the great guy. His name's Randy, and he'll do it. And
wow.
He pitched it to me, and I was like, okay, you know, I will do it. So at least that one I had like 2 weeks to prepare, you know, and I met with them and got the story of the guy's life so I could write somewhat of a eulogy and got down to practicing my Hebrew again. And
Randy, wow. I gotta say fist bump. I gotta give you a fist bump on that.
Yeah, no doubt. Wow. Absolutely. Yeah. Jiminy Christmas.
I won't do it again. That was the first and the last. You know, and for ceremonies too. I think that was the first and last. Unless one of my good friends came up to me and said, hey, we want you to do the online thing and please do this. I'd be like, I'll give you 10 minutes, but that's all I can do. And I've got to really prep for it. But the funeral was a one and done. I'm not doing that again.
All right, getting back to wedding ceremonies.
Yeah.
I know that you've had to play. No. What, JP, what?
I love that segue, like getting back to wedding ceremonies. And I realized
back to what we're supposed to be talking about.
Going into a darker space there. But yes, you are our leader. Go to it. Go for it. Yes.
So here's the thing that I'm curious about, because I decided to become a wedding officiant when I was DJing somebody's wedding ceremony. The circumstances, I said, oh my gosh, you mean I can do that? And that's how I got into this incredible industry. What that means is that when we set up an equipment and we play music for a wedding ceremony, you get to watch and probably have observed a lot of officiants do wedding ceremonies, and not all of them are good. Does anything come to mind in regards to, oh, I hope nobody ever does that again?
Probably one of the highest end weddings I've ever done. This was at Disney World. They booked it out. This was easily $1 million wedding. Easily.
They booked out Disney World?
Yeah. In fact, Disney World closed the Magic Kingdom an hour early. So that way the bride and groom could get married at midnight.
Wow.
You know, So yeah, they kicked all the guests out at like 10 so they could set everything up in front of the castle. We started over at Epcot with the pre-dinner and stuff like that over there. They after the park had closed there an hour early. So we had the park all to ourselves. We got to go on rides there, all this other stuff. Anyway, their officiant, he was good. He wasn't great, but the thing that was just that stood out was he did the wrong last name at the very end, which is like
Oh
that's
man.
Oh,
that's the
stabbed me
big
in the
one,
heart.
you know.
Oh
That's where
Oh,
you can't
geez.
mess up, you know. He did the bride's maiden name.
no.
They're looking at each other like, what do we do? And the four-piece strings is playing, and they're kind of hesitantly walking back up the aisle. My wife, who's also a DJ and does a ton of stuff and has kahunas way bigger than mine, got up out of her seat and said, no, 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 stop. We're not doing this. We're going to go back to set. You're going to get the names right, and then we're going to turn and do this. This is a special moment for them. So we're going to reset everything. You're going to get the right last name, and then the orchestra will start again, and they will make their way to the horse-drawn
Holy
carriage.
moly.
Yeah, yeah. And we weren't best man,
Whoa.
maid of honor. We weren't, I was DJing part of it, but we were just there as guests at that part. She stood up and made the guy do it again. That was the right call. And the bride and groom were thrilled that she did that. And
Now the audience must have like just erupted
they
in
laughed. They laughed so
laughter and
hard.
tears. And how did the officiant roll with that? I mean,
Yeah.
how did the officiant handle all of that?
Thank goodness for him. You know, he's Disney, so he's got the Disney approach. You know, he apologized. I'm so sorry. Take two. Let's do this. You know, so he rolled right with everything that needed to be done. It went back. It went smoothly, and that's one of the things I know Clint knows. Cut, paste, fix it in post. You know, it's like from all those editing years.
All right. So just
No
make
one will
sure.
ever know that except for the small group of us that were there.
So the officiant was an employee of Disney World.
Yeah, well, Disney has their preferred vendor list.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So when you do a wedding there, they give you the list of the three or the four people that work the park. They know how to get in, get out, do all the kind of stuff. You can bring in your own person. They usually try and push one of their Disney preferred vendors. It just makes it they're a pain in the butt to work for Disney. There's a lot of hoops you got to jump through, and there's a lot of specific places you park and unload and have to do all this different stuff. So I'm a huge Disney fan through and through. I don't prefer working at Disney, but I do because it's good
Well,
money.
Linda, have you officiated at Disneyland?
A long time ago. The ceremony site that most people use is actually this gazebo that's in Patio Park area near Disneyland Hotel.
The
But
Rose
in
Garden.
terms,
Yep.
yeah, but in terms of being actually inside the Magic Kingdom, no, I have never done that. But boy, oh boy, I'm so envious of that. You know, to be able to be in that environment because I'm a Disney freak. And so that would have been really cool. Have you done that, Randy? Have you ever been to any wedding ceremonies or weddings that have been actually inside the park?
Disneyland, we didn't do the ceremony in the park. Usually, what happens is after the park closes, the couple can choose one or two rides that they want to take their guests on after the park is closed. That happens at a lot of the weddings I do. They'll be like, oh, okay, we're ending now, half hour early because we're going to go ride Indiana Jones or we're going to go do something else, you
Oh,
know?
that's
So
cool.
I'm able to jump in with them and go into the park after close and grab a churro while we're in there and ride a
Love
ride.
it.
You know,
Love
it's
it.
pretty cool. Yeah,
Did the officiant at Disney World try to add into Disney references into the ceremony?
for sure. That's what I think their preferred vendors have like certain scripts that they go to for the Disney references and some stuff like that.
I
Yeah.
would think if the couple spent all that money to be in that place, that's kind of what they wanted. I'm guessing.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, it was wild. They do the horse-drawn carriage at Disneyland. You come kind of just from the side, and you come into the area for the Rose Garden. For Disney World, they came all the way down Main Street,
Oh
and then
man.
they circled around. This thing took like 12 minutes, literally, to go from the back of Main Street all the way to the middle area to circle around. I mean, they want to get pictures and video, and everything's great, but you're dealing with live animals while they're doing their vows. The horse is taking a huge dump And we're all sitting right there with the horses. And I mean, this waft comes over, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's like an episode of Seinfeld. It was crazy. So that's one story. Some officiants I've worked with are super, super strict. And I had one officiant who told the bridal party that there was no drinking whatsoever allowed before the ceremony. And if he caught any,
That must have been a religious
I'm sure
minister.
it was. I'm
Yeah,
sure it was. Yeah.
yeah,
And he
yeah.
said if anyone was caught drinking, he was not going to perform the wedding.
Oh, wow.
And that means all the bachelors, the groom's party, everyone. And I saw people sneaking their little flasks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if this
Wow.
officiant actually calls off the wedding, I was freaking out. I thought he was going to do it. He did not call it
Obviously,
off.
obviously, his first wife ran off with a bartender.
There you go. Exactly.
Very good. Okay, so what are the
Yeah.
things like when you work with an officiant? What are the things that you want, and what are the things that you don't want, and how, in regards to how they interact with you before the ceremony and so on?
It's really easy on the DJ side. I like to find out whether the officiant prefers a lav mic or a handheld mic. My kind of thing is if we do the handheld mics, I like to do two mics, one facing the officiant and one facing the bride and groom. That way there you don't have to keep doing the turnaround thing or pop the microphone out of the stand and go back and forth. I kind of like to have one set right there and there. And that way you don't have to mess with everything as the officiant. I do need to know what's the last thing you're going to say. So that way I know when to come in with the music. And when officiant tells me that they're going to introduce them, the couple, last thing I'm going to say is, you may kiss the bride. Now, ladies and gentlemen, may I present the new Mr. But whatever they're going to say, I want to know what that is. And if they change that up on me, then I look really bad. I'm like waiting for my music to come in. He's not introducing him. He's not introducing him. He's not introducing. Okay, I'm just going to play the music. So there's like these pauses where if they go off script or something along those lines, if there's something in the midst of the ceremony where they're doing a sand ceremony or they're doing a candlelight or something along the lines, and I've got some music prepared for that, I wait for them to give me a point to bring it in. And if they just keep talking, I don't want to bring it over their voice or over them explaining. So I'm like waiting and waiting. And okay, they didn't ever stop talking. So I just sort of skipped bringing that music in or something like that. So those are the kind of things I like to go over with the officiant beforehand. Is there something in the midst of in the middle of the ceremony that I need to be aware of? My music cue for the end of the ceremony is going to be what from you? What are the last things you say? That's really it. And then I might say, hey, they want me to say something about the cocktail hour is going to be handled somewhere else. Is that something you would like to do while you're already up there? As opposed to me piping in after the ceremony. It just kind of breaks the I don't know the magic of it and the importance of it. If a DJ just comes on and goes, by the way, you're all out of here. Go back to the cocktail hour down the hill, or thanks for coming. I got to break everything down. Get out.
I always figure that since they've been listening to me and watching me for the entire ceremony, that it's just so easy for me to say, and now you can go to cocktails because I already have all their attention. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
You mentioned rituals during the ceremony. What's the most music cues you've had during a wedding ceremony?
That's a
Interesting.
good question. In the range of like 20.
No, get out of here.
No, no,
Really?
A
that
lot.
must have been a religious ceremony.
No, a lot of it was walking down the processional because the groom, he's a composer for movies, and so he's very into soundtracks. So he chose a different theme for each of his couples that were coming down. So I think there were like six bridesmaids and groomsmen couples that went down. So he had a separate song for each of them.
Oh, that must have
Uh,
taken forever. Holy moly.
I mean, we didn't play the whole track, of course. You're
No,
playing
but
maybe 30
still,
seconds of it or
yeah.
so, but yeah. And you really have to find, with those, it's hard. 'Cause you have to find the part where it's not crescendoing too loud or it's not the dead part of
Ah,
the song. Don't accidentally play Jaws, something, it's like,
Another one bites
but
the
yeah,
dust.
exactly. Yeah. Don't want to do that. But yeah, in the ceremony, he wanted beds of music throughout, just very low, and he wanted them changed at certain points. One for one bed of music while he was giving his vows, one bed of music while she was giving her vows. It was really amazing. It was beautiful. I had never done anything like that before, where there was so much audio decor. Almost. I mean, I did a seminar on this once at a bridal show where I took the same movie clip and I played a different audio track under it five different times. And the audio track gave you different feelings and different emotions every time you saw the same exact clip. from this movie. One, it made it feel ominous. It made it feel loving. It made it feel exciting. It made, you could do all this with just the music. And it really did that with these soundtracks that he picked out. It was really brilliant. I would love to have taken the credit 100% for that. It was all him.
Did you get a chance to rehearse that, or did you kind of just get the cues and do it on the fly?
I got the cues in advance, so I could have the music already cued in my system.
Right.
I did not time it out. Like I didn't go to the rehearsal dinner and time it out or anything like that. That was kind of done on the fly. But that's so much easier, with all the stuff that we have nowadays. We can loop on the fly. We can extend something on the fly. It's DJing has become so much easier than it was when Clint and I started, where, you're on a record or something like that, and it's being warped in the sun and it's or you got a cassette tape and they're like, play that again, and you're like unscrewing it with your finger and you popping the cassette back in. I mean, horror stories.
I have to say, I'm going to ignore all of that. I just don't deal with age or time. But I find I'm fascinated by the whole, but it makes sense. He was a composer. I find it very difficult occasionally, maybe I could count on one hand, when a couple wanted music playing underneath as they said their vows or at various points in the ceremony. And I feel, listening to you right now, I feel stupid because I cannot speak, or I'm challenged to speak when music is playing underneath me. I find it distracting.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Like there's this instinct to me that just want to say, could you stop? I'm talking. I see that I'm channeling my mother. Hello, I'm talking.
No, I totally understand it. There's a lot of times where I'm DJing, like, let's say, an award ceremony. And I like to have a low bed of music underneath. And when they announce the winner, I pull it up and everyone cheers. It gets exciting. And I pull it back down really quiet while they go on to the next one. And so many people are like, no, cut. I want to talk. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it goes up, it was to level one, you had to have dog ears to hear it. But, it does. It can throw people off for sure. So totally understand that.
Oh, this is brilliant. I'm so glad you told us the story of that particular ceremony where you had all those cues and all the music beds and all that kind of stuff. That's really cool. Well, we've run out of time. Randy, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Messenger pigeon, stick a note in.
You went to JP's school.
Old school, baby. Write it on the back of a menu, fly it out to me. Let's do this thing. No, you can RockOn at extravaganzaonline.com is my handle, my email address. If you go to RockOn at Extravaganza Online, you can get a hold of me anytime. Extravaganza Online is my website. You can check it out. We have videos on there. And I try and put stuff up on DJ Randy K on Instagram from the latest parties and those kind of things. If I see something cool and exciting and new, I'll pop it up there.
That's very cool. JP, how can people get in touch with you?
First of all, let me say, where's the music now? Shouldn't there be music playing right now?
I didn't want to throw you off. I didn't want to throw you off,
I'm trying to make an effort here. I also want to say, I think it's clever, Randy, that you deliberately omitted where we can find you on TikTok. This whole thing of I like TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok. I'm going on TikTok right after this. I am sure you are on some deep corner of TikTok.
It's called Topless DJs on TikTok.
Okay. All right. Where can you find me? You can find me at JPR Weddings. You can email me from jprweddings.com. That's great.
Brilliant. And you can get in touch with me through my website, which is just my name. It's Clint Huff, CLINTHUFFT.com for all of the things that I do. Once again, remember, JP is a communications expert. TheBusinessOfConfidence.com is that website. And his books about wedding ceremonies and how to prepare and how to perform are all in the Amazon store and in the Kindle store in Amazon. That's it for this episode of the Wedding Ceremony Podcast. This is Clint, and on behalf of JP and Randy, we will see you next time.